going on, everybody? It's your boy Michael. The day has finally come. Today, we are going, not today, but within a couple weeks, we are going to be selling the FRS. I'm going to do a little review upon what I liked about the car, what I didn't like about the car, and so on and so forth. From the mods I've done, the day that I bought it, and the story that I have with it, and everything we've done. So, decided to come out to Mount Charleston, one of my favorite places, and also one of the more quiet places that I'm able to actually get some decent footage and sound footage. So I'm up here. It's always nice to get away from the city. And on top of that, it's not 110 degrees right now. I think it's only about 70 degrees usually up here. So it's a little escape from the heat for a little bit, for at least a couple hours. So I bought the FRS on May 25th, 2020, 4 years ago. Ended up buying it because I needed a new car. So that's why I bought the car. I've always kind of wanted a FRS for the most part. I've had my eyes on a couple cars. I used to love the G's, the FRS's. Any kind of car, JDM car, I really fell for it. And this was the one car that was within my budget and I wanted to buy, so I ended up buying it. My first night I took it home, I actually had to take it back to the dealerships because I don't know if there was a leak in the AC, or it needed a Freon pump, but I took it back and they ended up fixing it. I'm pretty sure it just needed some Freon. First impressions of the car is I loved it to death. When I got it, it was in pretty much brand new condition. There wasn't any scratches on the interior, exterior. I mean, it was a beautiful car, and I'm going to be showing pictures from the beginning of the car's life to where the car went and the stages. It had about 2 different stages. It had the V1 stage where it had the silver wheels, and then I had the bronze wheels. So through all of this, I'm going to be putting pictures and videos and using just this voice to explain more or less what I'm pretty much talking about. Everybody, you have to realize that my first 2 cars were a Chevrolet Cavalier, and then I drove a Saturn SL1. Both of those cars are very underpowered. They only have about 100 horsepower. So when I got into a car that had 200 horsepower and redlined at 7,500 RPMs, it was a whole different feel of a car for me. And especially with the different kinds of suspension, the high compression ratio in the engine. This is a totally different kind of car. And I will be providing these sound clips of when the car sounded when it was stock. Keeping in the dark, I got my niggas across the street living large. Thinking back to the fact that they dead, thought my raps were the facts that they sat. Then till about halfway through when it was stage 1. And then when it hit stage 2. So I'm gonna kind of go through my first mods. First mods on the car was a MagnaFlow exhaust. That did open it up a little bit. The MagnaFlow is actually one of the more restrictive aftermarket exhausts now that I've looked back on my purchase years ago. And that's kind of honestly why I wanted it. I didn't want something, because a lot of the FRS exhausts, especially like the NVIDIA, the Tomei, I mean, they're just so ridiculously loud. They sound great. Don't get me wrong. I love the way they sound. Little did I know when I would meet my boy Keanu that the itch would begin. So the second mod to the car was the headlights. The Spec D headlights, which I absolutely hated. They were so awful. It was plug and play, so that was the only thing good. So eventually I ended up putting the VLANs in. Me and my boy helped me put the VLANs in, which those actually look really good. I'll show you some pictures here. So that was the second mod. The third mod was actually the Valenti taillights. It's crazy that I actually remember these all in order. The Valenti taillights, I got the black ones, and they looked very well on the car. After this, we did put the coils on. That's when the car really started to ride. It had a whole different ride to it. These are actually one of the cheaper coils for the FRS, but I honestly have zero complaints. They have a decent amount of adjustability. I actually ended up, when my boys put them on, we ended up maxing out the car. The car was pretty low, actually. It was low, but it really wasn't all that low. It was only low because I had the 17-inch wheels on it, which after I put the coils on, we ended up putting the silver wheels that I got from my boy Kuya, that drives the most slammed FRS I've ever seen anyone drive. He ended up selling me some silver wheels that he didn't want anymore. So ended up putting those on, and I ended up putting on the Grim Speed air intake as well after that. At the end of this, I'll put the mod list up just to show you guys everything I've done to the car. The Grim Speed intake felt like it did something, but after I ended up buying the the open flash, that was when it felt like it did open it up. And I did put it to stage 1 for a little bit before I got the headers. So that was the next mod. I got Tomei headers, which thing I bought for the car, that was probably the best bang for buck. That was the best thing I could have ever bought. 10 out of 10. I would do it all over again. And again, when you put the Tomei headers on this car, it absolutely, the unequal length, not the equal length I didn't end up getting, because this car has a very bad torque dip. That was another thing I absolutely hated about the car, is that the torque dip between 2,000 and 3,000 RPM is vicious. If you get caught between that 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs, your car is just it's going nowhere. It's so hard to get it out of it. Especially this car being an automatic, when it gets caught in that range. In the beginning too, when it was stock, just forget about it. I mean, you'll get walked by Priuses, Camrys, and V6 Hondas all day. I mean, you don't even stand a chance. And that's another thing that kind of drove me nuts about this car, is it looks so fast, but it's not. After we put the headers on, I actually ended up, my boys helped me put on the Tomei overpipe. Now, when we put on the overpipe, it was the one thing that really improved the car the most, besides the headers. The overpipe and the headers, when you combine those two, and plus they were both Tomei, it just made this car so much faster, especially in the lower end. These cars are not fast in the high end whatsoever. They're only quick in the low end, probably 0 to 100. So I was trying to get something that would help in the lower end, especially trying to get me out of that torque dip. I did a bunch of research, and this is pretty much everything that I ended up buying. I ended up taking the chrome or the silver wheels off. The chrome ones, I took them off, and then I ended up putting on some bronze wheels, because I just wanted to run something different. And that was what I ran for about a year and a half after that. The car was slammed for about a good amount of time, honestly. I mean, I would say this car was slammed for almost 2 years solid, like on the ground. Coils maxed out, not going over speed bumps. And I kind of grew out of all that, man. It was fun while it lasted, I'll be honest. I see all the low cars on Instagram, and they look good, but honestly, if you're really trying to be responsible, you have to just bag your car. There's just nothing you can do. There's no way to get around it. It's a losing game in your car. At some point in time, you will ruin your car. Whether you're pulling off suspension pieces, ripping off ball joints, exhaust pieces, so on and so forth. I mean, fender liners, diffs, I mean, you name it. Your frame, you could bend your frame. I mean, there's just so many things you could do. So eventually I actually raised the car. And those are pretty much all the fun mods. All the other mods that I could sit here and talk about with the maintenance aren't really all the fun mods, I would say. They're really not something worth talk about. But I mean, I would just kind of go over them briefly. We did change the tensioner at 70K on the pulley. Still changed every 3,000 to 5,000K. Spark plugs have been changed around 70K. I'll never do that again. That's another reason why I'm selling the car, because the spark plug change is just, it's ridiculous. You have no room to work with. That's honestly part of the reason why I'm selling the car, because it's such a pain in the butt to do very minimal things sometimes like that. So, but like I said, I've taken very good care of the car. Changed rear lower control arms, alignments every 3, 4, 5, 6,000 miles. Coolant, I've never flushed the coolant, but I always just kept it up, never low on anything. Changed the differential fluid at about 80K. Very good care of the car, I'll be honest with everybody, and I'm not trying to say that to toot my own horn, because I've honestly invested a lot of money into this car to the point where I actually really don't even want to get rid of it. The main reason I want to get rid of it is because there's just no space. So that's pretty much all the mods to the car. We're gonna hop on to the next part of the section, but that's pretty much gonna end it all there. I'm just, like I said, I've outgrown the car. I'm ready to let it go, you know. And like I said, I've invested so much money into it, so much time into it, that, you know, I really don't want to get rid of it, because I know it's going to last a while probably, but I'm ready to part ways with it because there's just no space in it. So anybody looking for this car, that is one thing that you should think about. I don't want to shoot down your dreams, shoot you down, or make you feel any kind of way if you are thinking about buying the car, but there's no space. That's pretty much going to close out the video. I appreciate everybody checking out my review on this. I'll be selling the car soon, and I got another surprise on what I'm going to be buying. I'm not going to really talk about it yet. Some people know, but we're going to keep it on. I'm not going to say anything yet. I'm going to just keep it a little secret, but I am going to be purchasing another vehicle after I do sell this one, and it is a 6-speed, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm much going to close out the video. I appreciate everybody checking out my review on this. I'll be selling the car soon, and I got another surprise on what I'm going to be buying. I'm not going to really talk about it yet. Some people know, but we're going to keep it on. I'm not going to say anything yet. I'm going to just keep it a little secret, but I am going to be purchasing another vehicle after I do sell this one, and it is a 6-speed, and I'm going to leave it at that. So everybody, man, let's lock in for the rest of this year. Thanks for checking this out. Take care of yourselves and get this money. Peace.